I've been in the industry, for grains industry for practically whole of my adult life, no.
Ibig
So,
po sabihin, Mr. Chair, just to lay down the
Yeah.
parameters, career po kayo.
Hindi, from the private sector, no.
Okay.
So, but basically, I run a grain company, with a mechanical post-harvest facility and modern
And this
bulk
is your
storage.
first entry to the government, or you have been with government before?
Yes, on a permanent basis, but I used to sit in the board of Corn Development Fund of the NFA for about 3 years in 2004 to 2007. So more or less, I have some idea on how NFA works.
So you were with the private sector for a long, long time, grain retailer or
Basically, we're post-harvest operator.
post-harvest
And
operators?
So, mainly for corn. So basically, we buy corn on cob or wet grains from the farmers. We dry, we store, and then provide it to big companies, especially San Miguel, so that we could preserve the quality over longer period, as much as 9 months. So that they will have good quality grains, especially for their breeder stock in Bukidnon.
In other words, Mr. Chair, the experience of former Administrator Bucco was geared on operations, development, and let's call it operations management of an agriculturally related industry. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So can you lay down to us, Administrator Bucco, Bucco.
Bisaya naman tayo.
Bisaya lalagay, oh. Yeah. Can you lay down to us the challenges that you encountered? And just for the information of this august body, Mr. Chair, I don't want to prejudge any official kasi part of the risk of government service are ending up with cases. And we do empathize, I do empathize with the situation of the former administrator. So, ano-ano po yung mga na-encounter yung mga kalisod or kahirapan, challenges?
Let me go direct na lang sa issues, challenges of NFA. When I came in and I applied for a job to our president and laid down the programs for transformation of NFA. Given the new mandate under the Rice Tarification Law 11203. So, as a farmer myself, I know how difficult it is to do farming, especially if there's lack of post-harvest facilities. And as a farmer, it's not my job to dry my corn on the highway. So much of our corn is dried on the highway, and quality is very low, and aflatoxin levels are very high. And most of the time, especially during the wet season, distress selling palagi yung farmer. Kasi hindi niya kayang i-dry properly. And when he goes to the trader to do his primary trade transaction, which is from the farmer to the trader, distress palagi during the wet season. For rice, it's here in Luzon, is October to November.
In other words, Mr. Chair, liwawin lang po natin ang admin. Ang ibig niyo pong sabihin, ang nakita niyong malaking problema ng ating mga farmers, you're referring to corn, but it's also related to palay. Tama po ba?
Yes.
Okay. Ang nakita niyong problema ay yung post-harvest facilities.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm
Go.
also the founding chairman of Philippine Maize Federation.
So in
Since
other
2000.
words, you identified 3 problems. Yung distressed ka, parang mapipilitan kang magbenta dahil sa panahong tag-ulan at wala kang mataguan. Ando doon naman yung magdra-dry ka sa mga kalye na mahirap naman kasi unang-una, andun yung, let's go, I'm not sure how you call it in agricultural terms, but on the health perspective, syempre hindi po ganun ka-ideal at hindi ganun ka-healthy yung nangyayari kasi dadaanan niya ng mga pusa, dadaanan niya ng mga aso, mga daga, or minsan yung mga medalang mga mikrobyo at mga dumi. And it can even be human waste.
Yes.
So yan po ang pinupunto nyo. So, in other words, you were saying na etong challenges na ito are also the same challenges that is being encountered by NFA. Tama po ba o hindi?
Yes, ma'am, when we encounter our farmers, so ang una talagang problema is post-harvest, no? So, tawag nito, there was a time na pumunta ako sa Mindoro Occidental to talk to the farmers, no? Tawag dito, October yon, and we tried to increase our cost. But ang iniiyakan ng mga farmers, kasi hindi sila maka-harvest on time, especially sa rice, kailangan mo within 2 weeks ma-harvest mo yan. Otherwise, you will have precocious germination. No? Tumutubo, in the panicle pa lang yung palay. Tapos sa NFA, ang tawag namin dyan, kung mag-deliver sila, kahit madry mo pa yan, PD3 na yan. No? Kasi hindi mo siya ma-store. Tapos kung
Sir,
imimil
just
siya,
to align, admin, meron po ba kayong timing ng pagbili ng palay or wala naman?
yes, that's actually what I'm saying is prelude pa lang. But yung buffering cycle ng NFA, that's what I wanted to explain, no? And as part of our transformation program. Now, yung role ng NFA kasi dalawa yung balancing act na gagawin niya, di ba? Meron siyang consumer wherein you want to sell at a low price yung bigas, and then you also have a responsibility to make sure that your farmers are also happy, no? So under sa Magna Carta of Small Farmers, no, RA 7607, wherein the government guarantees the right of the farmer to a minimum price and provide post-harvest facilities, no, and perhaps services. And this is what NFA should be doing, no. So pagdating ng period na distress ang farmer, we have to offer him minimum price, no? And then later on, make sure that it will be preserved so that we could provide it for the lean season, especially for the lean season, no? So yung buffering cycle ng NFA, we buy most of our palay during the wet season, normally, no? So sometimes hindi nasusunod yan or there's some more intervention, but 70% of what we buy is during the wet season. No, mura kasi during that time, no? And tawag nito, ang wet season natin can produce about 5 to 6 months of consumption. But the next harvest season is only 4 or 5 months away. So magkakaroon ng natural na surplus towards the next harvest season. And that's the subject supposedly of what NFA is going to map out in the market, yung excess na yan, kasi aabot yan lalampas sa next season. Especially na meron pang importation in between na around 2 million metric tons, no, from October to early March, no. So nagkakaroon tayo ng 4.4 million metric tons of importation, relatively spread over the throughout the year, no, divided throughout the year. So total of 4.4, which is about mga 1.1 million tons per quarter,
Yeah,
no?
Mr. Chair,
per month.
pasensya na po,
Sorry,
Admino. We need to go straight to the point. Kasi
Yeah, okay.
para po maintindihan ng mga namin at ng mga nakikinig at ng taong bayan, ano ang mga problema sa NFA na kailangang solusyonan.
Okay.
So I do understand your wisdom of pointing out the difficulties in post-harvest facilities. Pero balik po tayo. Kapag po kayo ba'y pumibili ng palay, meron po bang talagang schedule na kailangan or you can buy anytime?
We buy, of course, there is seasonality sa harvest season, no? Sa rice, it's September, October, November. So, sa wet season, and then February, March, April sa dry
Okay,
season.
so bumibili kayo sa wet season kalimitan.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
How about the price?
Sa price,
Is it flexible or is it mandated by your board or by any other rules and regulations?
Mr. Chair, it is set by the council. No? Sometimes it's a fixed price. Sometimes we're given a range. Minimum, for example, 23, and you can buy up to 30 pesos, no? Depending
What's
on...
the current situation during your time? Was it a range or was it a fixed price?
we're given a fixed price at that time, 20 up to, if I'm not mistaken,
So is it a range or a fixed price?
fixed price.
Fixed price, magkano?
23 pesos.
So 23 pesos.
Clean and dry. Clean and dry.
Okay.
In fact, I started, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, no? Kasi I'm trying to...
And balikan lang natin, no? Yung rice tarification law started in 2019.
Yes.
Okay. Nawala ang mga NFA rice retailers. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Although you were not yet there as administrator during that time, sa mga nakahalubilo mo at sa experience mo, what were the challenges when the rice tarification law removed the NFA rice retailers in the public markets?
Well,
If we can go direct to the point, sir. No?
we're basically, by law kasi, we're basically supposed to limit to calamity relief, no? Ang buffer stock ng NFA. That's why it was defined as equivalent to 9 days of consumption.
And that is equivalent to how many kilos?
That's about 330,000 tons or 330 million kilos, no? Or
So
6.6.
ang buffer nyo is 300, let's talk about kilos kasi para mas madaling maintindihan ng
Okay.
masa.
330 million
You're talking about 330 million kilos. Ano po yung duration? At a certain point of time or yan na yung total annual buffer stock nyo?
Supposedly in the law it is at any given time, but in practice that is the total that more or less that are being
Annual.
targeted annual.
Okay.
Then in
So yung
terms-
binibili nyo is 330 million kilos equivalent of rice, not
Yes.
the palay kasi
Yeah.
iba yon. Okay.
Palay is about 475,000 tons in terms of palay, or 475 million kilos of palay.
Okay. And you only procure locally produced rice or you also import rice?
We're not allowed under 11203, Mr. Chair.
Okay. You're not
Madam.
allowed to import. You buy from our local producers or local farmers. And your price is fixed at 23 pesos per kilo for rice.
Ganito kasi yan, for palay, Mr. Chair, it's actually 19 pesos plus may buffer stock incentive na 4 pesos, up to 4 pesos. That's why it's 23, no? So, but,
Okay. So, moving forward, ano po ang diferensya nung wala pang rice tarification law at meron ng RTL? Sa panahon nyo po, no? Balanse natin, meron kayong buffer stock. And you're talking about 330 million kilos of rice in a year. Okay.
Okay.
At ang sinabi mo nga dun nga sa batas ay para na lang siya sa calamity-stricken areas kung merong mga kalamidad na nangyayari.
Pre-RTL, ang mandate ng NFA is to provide buffer stock not just for calamity relief but also for price stabilization, no? So mag-intervene siya sa market at a certain price, subsidized price.
So,
And-
Mr. Chair, I'll just cut you very quickly, Mr. Administrator. Malinaw po, no, ulitin ko lang. Ang sinasabi ni Administrator, pre-RTL, nung wala pa yung rice tarification law, dalawa ang mandato ng NFA. Ang magkaroon ng buffer at at the same time, price regulation. Na kapag masyadong mahal ang bigas, papasok ang NFA as a competitor sa possible collusion or rice cartel, kung meron man, para yung presyo ay bumagsak. Hindi naman totally bagsak, pero hindi naman siya masyadong mahal. Are we reading you clear, Admin?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So if I may, ang mandate ng NFA specific to PD4, no, as amended, it should maintain before the throughout the year 15-day buffer stock, no. But during the lean season, at the onset of the lean season, it has to have 30
Mr.
days.
Chair, if I
30
may,
days.
Admin, sorry ha, it's really good that you will go into the details, but for interest of time,
Okay.
we have to focus on the macro information needed so that we can initiate reforms in NFA if ever. Kung okay lang po sa inyo.
Yeah.
We can have time on the nitty-gritty details, but as of this point of time, We just need the needed knowledge. No? So ang sinasabi nyo, dalawa ang obligasyon ng National Food Authority. Una, buffer stock. Ibig sabihin, para pagka may mga kalamidad or may mangyari, hindi mawawala ng bigas ang Pilipinas. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Pangalawa, ang inyong obligasyon ay maging player sa market na kung sakasakaling nagsasabwatan ang ating mga traders o yung mga stakeholders sa bigas, kagaya ng nangyayari ngayon, at nagiging mahal ang bigas, nakakapasok ang NFA sa merkado to stabilize the presyo. Laymanizing it, ang NFA ay palaging handa na maging competitor ng mga nagbebenta na bigas na kung sakasakaling nagkaroon sila ng usap-usapan at agreement na maging mahal ang presyo, ay papasok kayo para kahit papano ay mababa at maibsan yung presyo. Do we get that right, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Chair. And if
I may move forward,
Okay.
ano ang natanggal nung nagkaroon ng rice tarification law?
So, ang natanggal yung price stabilization. And normally,
Ibig sabihin, sa dalawang obligasyon nyo, andun pa rin yung pag-provide ng buffer, pero yung pagpasok sa merkado, kung sakasakaling mahal ang bigas, ay tinanggal sa inyo. Tama po ba?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. With this, Mr. Chair, ipinarating niyo po ba itong mga observation niyo sa ating mga opisyales sa Department of Agriculture?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chair.
Nakarating ito sa kanila?
Yes, even to our former secretary, the
Yes.
president himself, no.
In fact, Mr. Chair, that's the reason why there were really extreme measures taken to amend the law. Subalit, ginawa na nga ng lahat sa Kongreso, hindi pa natin alam bakit sa Senado ay walang nangyari. And that is why we are in this situation now. Let's move forward, Mr. Chair, dun sa kaso na nadamay nga si admin at ilan po kayo, sir?
143 lahat yung kinasuhan.
Yeah, so we have 143 government officials. Kasama dyan, Mr. Chair, yung mga matagal nang nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno. Is it okay? Yung mga bodegero yung iba, no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, can you give us a rundown of the 143?
Including many of our top officials in the central office, department heads, no, acting assistant administrator.
How many are career and how many were presidential appointees?
No, all of them are career except me.
So itong 143 accused government officials ay nagtrabaho sa gobyerno ng matagal ng panahon.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Can you give us, partly okay lang po bang magtanong dun sa details ng kaso? Are you at liberty to inform us?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, kasi it's still under investigation and up for resolution. So
Maybe
there
we
might
can
be-
ask the current NFA administrator, ano po ba yung circumstances dito sa kaso ng ating 143 NFA officials?
Yes, Admin Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as I know, ang kaso pong ito ay nag-stem doon sa sale ng aging stocks.
Sa pagbebenta, di ba pinalitan na natin yung pangalan? Anong pangalan?
Non-regular stocks.
Okay. Sa pagbebenta ng non-regular stocks. So, Mr. Chair, pasensya na po, Admin Bioko, no? Kaya kita kina-cut off na kanina. Kasi maganda naman yung explanation nyo, pero masyado siyang mahaba at masyadong detail, nawawala tuloy yung punot dulo o yung meat na kailangan nating pag-usapan. And here is a situation, Mr. Chair, wherein merong panukalang batas, yung rice tarification law, na siguro maganda yung hangarin, magkaroon ng pondo para sa competitiveness enhancement and efficiency ng yield ng ating mga farmers. However, there were unexpected consequences. At ang isa nga sa nakita ditong unexpected consequence ay nawalan ng poder ang NFA na na pumasok sa merkado kung sakasakaling nagsasabuatan at mahal ang presyo ng bigas. Kaya maski presidente sa administrasyong ito at sa panahong ito ay hindi kaya basta-basta sugpuin at pababain ang presyo ng bigas dahil natanggalan hindi lamang po ng pakpak, kundi paa at kamay. Kulang na lang ang ulo ng NFA, kaya ngayon beholden tayo sa mga traders na nagmamanipulate ng presyo ng bigas. Number 2, nakitaan rin na dahil buffer ang kanilang obligasyon, merong nakaimbak dyan. And we are referring to around 330 million kilos of rice annually. Ang tanong, Mr. Chair, bigas kasi yan eh. Ang sabi, regular stock, ibig sabihin fresh. Non-regular stock, ibig sabihin 3 buwan na. Tama po ba? Ano po ang mangyayari sa bigas pag pinalampas mo ng 3 buwan? What are the risks, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, after 3 months, actually it's still in good condition, no? Even up to 6 months if it's stored properly. But at some point in between, magkaroon na siya ng grayish color and powdery substance, and kailangan siya i-remill bago ibenta sa palengke para appealing naman to the consumers, para hindi masyadong hindi pangit tingnan, no?
To laymanize it, pwede ba nating sabihin, pagkatapos ng 3 buwan, ang posibilidad na pakonti-konti nasisira ang bigas, or wala nang bibili ng bigas kasi umiba na yung kulay, syempre matatakot yung kakain. Not to mention the fact that there can really be health implications there. Yung po ba ang tinutumbok nyo, admin?
Yes, Mr. Chair, especially
Okay.
walang
Next
post-harvest si NFA.
Walang post-harvest. Okay, next question. Kapag ang bigas, kunyari, meron ka diyang 200 million kilos ng rice at nasira, ano naman po ang liability ng NFA?
He will be liable doon sa ombudsman for irresponsibility, no? So because nakatakda sa batas, sa 11203, na you have to dispose of that before it becomes unsafe.
Okay. Paano naman pag walang kalamidad?
Well,
Walang bagyo?
uh,
In other words, Mr. Chair, ang tinutumbok ko dito, nilagay natin ang ating mga opisyales, career officials, career employees, even yung mga bodegero, sa sitwasyon na damn if you do, damn if you don't. Na parang ikaw ay nakatayo doon sa isang bangka at ang bangka ay palubog. So pwede ka bang tumalon sa tubig, wala ring sasalo sa'yo, or hihintayin mo na lang lumubog ang bangka. Ang resulta ng dalawa ay pareho ring mamamatay ang pasahero ng bangka. Can the Honorable Administrator confirm this?
yes, Mr. Chair. So as per law, we have to sell it, but then,
So sa pananaw niyo po ba, Mr. Chair, kung hindi nagkaroon ng pagbabago na nawalan ng poder ang NFA na pumasok sa mga nagko-collusion para sa mas mahal na bigas, hindi mangyayari ang ganitong sitwasyon sa inyong mga kasamahan at lalo na dun sa ating mga bodegero at career employees.
yes, Mr. Chair, NFA used to have 68,000 licensed retailers.
68,000 licensed retailers.
Yes, Mr.
Kaya
Chair.
Mr. Chair, 68,000 na legal na maliliit na negosyante ang nawalan ng oportunidad. 143 NFA employees ngayon ang talagang nahihirapan at personal po ba kayong gumagastos ng inyong mga abogado?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So Mr. Chair, nailagay sa isang sitwasyon na hindi pa natin maintindihan, I believe, Mr. Chair, ang kailangang tumbukin ng Quintacom ay ang naging utak, whether it's intentional or not intentional, to clip the powers of the government to enter the market. Yung bang binawalan ang gobyerno na pumasok para magkaroon ng full authority at full power itong mga traders and scrupulous businessman na ikontrol yung presyo ng bigas. Does the former NFA administrator agree with me on this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And my question, Mr. Chair, to DA and to the current NFA leadership, kayo po ba ay sumasang-ayon sa sinabi nating merong mga, whether intentional or not intentional, merong nakatagong kamay na sana yung isang magandang batas na rice tarification law kung saan may suporta at competitiveness sa ating local farmers ay pinasukan para tanggalan ng poder ang gobyerno na pigilin ang kartel sa bigas. Kayo po ba ay sumasang-ayon sa statement na ito?
Well, I can say na because of the passage of the law, the power of the government to intervene, especially on price stabilization, was clipped. No? Doon kami nahirapan.
And did it open, Mr. Chair? Did the situation open to the possibility of massive abuse? At nakikita po ba ng Department of Agriculture na ito ngayon ang isang major setback? Kaya napakamahal ng bigas. At ang kaninang sinasabi ni Congresswoman Stella Kimbo na bakit meron siya nakikitang kayang magpamura ng bigas at hindi nangyayari sa iba ay dahil nagkakaroon ng sabwatan ang iilan nating mga traders.
Apparently, because of kahit binabaan mo na yung taripa at ganun pa rin ang presyo, there's something going on along the value chain. Yes, there is.
So, Yusek Morales, pasensya na po ha, tumbukin natin ng direkta. Did that specific amendment in the law, yung pagtanggal ng poder na ang gobyerno ay pumasok kapag merong sabwatan sa presyo ng bigas, yan po ba ay masasabi nating major factor why the government and the administration now cannot control or reduce the cost of rice?
Yes, because it limited the ability of DA to sell or to release yung available stocks ng NFA sa ngayon.
So what is your recommendation?
I think the department, to the leadership of the secretary, has already requested or provided the president his recommendation of providing or ibalik po yung yung powers of NFA specifically for two things. One is to be able to do market intervention, yung mailabas yung stocks nila at mai-replenish at makabili palalo ng makaikot, no? Hindi kumbaga hindi na hahantong sa sitwasyon na sasabihin ng NFA hindi na pwedeng bumili ng palay sa mga farmers natin kasi puno na ang bodega. Second is magkakaroon pa rin ng yung power na ma-regulate yung mga retailers natin through registration, certification, accreditation. At the same time, mas talakas yung yung regulatory power ng NFA
Sa tingin niyo po,
market.
Yusek Morales, saan po mahirap? Ano po ang obstacle para hindi po maibalik itong power ng NFA?
So, Mr. Chair, it's the RTL. It's the amended
Hindi,
RTL.
kaya nga, you already mentioned that it's needed. We have to bring back the power of NFA to be a player in the market to reduce the price of rice. Kaya ang tanong ko, alam na natin ang problema, alam na rin natin ang solusyon. Ano ang pinakamalaki o sino ang sagabal para hindi ito matugunan?
Both the houses of Congress have the powers to amend the law.
Mr. Chair, is Yusek Morales aware of the Congress version on the Agricultural Tarification Act? And I'm referring to Section 6, where it mentions the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, upon recommendation of NPCC or the Local Price Coordinating Council. I won't go into the details kasi medyo marami siya. Pero nakasaad po dito, use existing inventory primarily intended for buffer stocking to supply areas where the extraordinary increase in prices or acute shortages in supply occur. Ang ibig po sabihin dito sa panakalang batas na ipinasa ng Kongreso, kapag merong exceptional or kaduda-duda na pagsasabwatan sa presyo ng bigas at nagiging mahal ito, binibigyan ng power ang DA na gamitin ang existing inventory, and that is through NFA, para isupply ito, ibenta, at aksyonan yung acute shortages. Are you aware of this, Yusek Morales?
Yes, ma'am. There's a move naman of the government na through the NPCC.
Bakit po hindi ito bakit po natanggal ito sa pagkakaalam nyo? Kasi ako, I'm not sure, no? Because at the level of Congress, ipinasa na namin to last year.
Ma'am, Mr. Chair, it's in the approved or the signed RTL, but we can release stocks of NFA, but during certain food security emergency. Ang iniintay na lang po ng DA is makuha ni Secretary ng recommendation ng NPCC.
No, Mr. Chair, I believe that Yusek is not answering my question. Napakasimple po ng tanong ko, Yusek.
Ma'am, it's in the law.
So it is in the law that was passed. Yung Section 6,
Pero DA, yes, Honorable Janet.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
It's in the law, but it's DA, not NFA.
okay. So you have to convene.
The NPCC.
Okay.
It's
In
not,
other words, DA ang gagalaw at hindi yung NFA.
Ma'am, it's,
Yeah.
if I may, Mr. Chair, it's not an actively na pwedeng i-release ng NFA. Kailangan it's either calamity pa rin or meron food
Ibig
security
sabihin,
emergency.
Yusek, correct me if I'm wrong, no? Andun nagsasabuatan yung mga traders. Inakyat nila yung presyo ng bigas sa 60 or 58 pesos, where in fact, kaya naman sana sa 45. Ngayon, pupunta pa sa DA, tatagal pa yan, ilang mga meeting, syempre makakaalis na or makakatago or iibahin. By the time na maging epektibo na yung gagawin nyo, wala na yung sindikato doon. Yan po ba ang ini-imply nyo?
No, ma'am. We're just stating what is written in the law.
Yeah, precisely. Kasi nga hindi NFA. Kung NFA yung empowered, kapag kagaya nung Congress version, nung lower house version, kapag nakita natin na mahal, talagang makakapasok na agad yung NFA. Dito, binago siya, ginawang DA, kaya pag DA, magko-convene ka muna ng National Price Coordinating Council. Parang itong nangyayari ngayon, na last year pa natin pinag-usapan, hanggang ngayon hindi kayo matapos-tapos dahil nakatali kayo. By the time that you are going to recommend the reduction of price of rice, ay harvest time na. So it defeats the purpose. Tama po ba, Yusek?
Ma'am, kahit... Can I...
Yes, sige, Yusek, please. Yes, so but I think the difference ini-impress ni Honorable Janet Garin, iba rin kasi because here in the House version may NFA, it's through NFA, and then it expands the market for NFA. Pwedeng grains retailers. NFA
Yes,
can
retail
accredit grains
outlets and
retailers,
even organized women's groups.
which would make it more easier and more effective to intervene in the market. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Honorable.
Para pong Mr. Chair, ganito, nagkaroon ng baha doon sa probinsya ng Iloilo. Ngayon, yung ginawang batas, dapat national muna yung magre-respond. So national yung gagalaw, tapos yung baha, tuloy-tuloy doon na nahihirapan yung mga tao. Pagdating ng national government doon, tapos na yung baha, malaki ng epekto sa tao. And by the time na tutulungan mo, halos wala ng epekto. Dito, yung batas sana is yung NFA, binabalik yung poder nila. Nawala yan, linagay naman, pero ginawang DA. However, ang mangyayari niyan, dadaan muna sa National Price Coordinating Council or Local Price Coordinating Council, magko-convene ka pa sa katutak na meeting, tapos hindi pa available minsan yung iba, by the time na nagkaroon na ng difference or galaw, wala na. Parang babalik tayo dun sa anhin mo pang damo kung
Yes,
patay
ma'am.
ng kabayo.
If I may, Chair.
Yes.
Ma'am, the only difference that I can see in the House version and the Act is, one, powers of NFA as against powers of DA. Two, the inclusion of LPCC in the House version as against sa batas na wala na yon. for both case, there's a need for a price coordinating council recommendation before the secretary of the department can act on it.
So the difference before and now, dati-rate, kapag mahal ang bigas, NFA agad-agad makakatugon.
Pre-RTL.
Okay. Ngayon, kung may problema at mahal yung bigas, iikot pa muna. At yung desisyon ay masyadong delayed at mahirap gawin dahil sa maraming legal
Mga food
impediments.
emergency, yes, ma'am.
Tama
Yes,
po
Mr.
ba?
Chair, before, every day, merong available NFA rice. Just for the purpose of price stabilization.
Okay. Moving forward, Mr. Chair, idagdag pa natin dyan yung malaking problema kaya nagkakaso-kaso yung ating mga bodegero. Kasi nga, meron kang buffer. Kung hindi ka mag-imbak ng bigas, pwede ka namang makasuhan at makulong. Kung mag-imbak ka naman at hindi mo ginamit, makukulong ka pa rin at makakasuhan. Tanong, dun sa ating buffer stocks, which was pegged at 330 million kilos on an annual basis, ilan po doon ang nagagamit sa experience nyo para sa mga kalamidad? Tanggalin mo si Kadiwa, ha? Kalamidad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ang nagamit po last year ay 700,000 bags lamang.
So out of 330 million kilo, that's bags, in
Bags
kilos. In kilos. 7 para isa
Ang
lang.
bags natin kung full yung 9-day buffer stock, sabihin natin 6 million bags yan.
So sa 330 million kilos, ilang kilos ang nagagamit para sa kalamidad?
700
Ilan yung sinabi mo yan?
700,000 bags.
700,000 bags.
Times 50.
35 million.
So sa 330 million kilos, makakagamit ka ng 35 million kilos, meron kang 295 million kilos of rice na pwedeng masira. At kapag nasira yon, ang mananagot naman ay ang taga-NFA. Ito ba ang ating sitwasyon ngayon? Admin Lacson.
Tama po, Mr. Chair. Ang hirap
So
ng
kinakabahan ka na rin kung kailan ka kakasuhan.
Napakahirap po talaga ng sitwasyon. Marami pong contradiction, hindi lamang po yan.
In other words,
under the
Mr. Chair,
situation.
nakikita na natin ang problema, hindi ko lang maintindihan bakit ayaw bigyan ng tsansa ng iba na payagan at ibalik ito. Now, Mr. Chair, doon naman sa nangyari kay Admin Bioco, hindi po ba, ano pong ginawa nyo? Kasi takot kayong masira yung bigas. Anong ginawa nyo?
Allowed naman under the
Hindi,
NFA.
anong ginawa nyo?
Yung
Binenta, okay.
sa mga rice
Binenta nyo
millers
sa mga rice
and
millers.
with the deed of undertaking na i-remill nila yon para maging acceptable sa
Okay.
sa
Binenta nyo
consumer.
at how much?
25 pesos, which is the mandated price.
Because that is the mandated price of the board.
Board.
Okay, binenta nyo sa kanila, merong agreement na i-remill nila before 68,000 na maliliit na negosyante ang binibentahan nyo. Itong nangyari, ilang negosyante ang nakabili?
I'm not,
Estimate,
more or less siguro mga around 50.
50.
Oh.
So, Mr.
May
Chair,
mga patingi-tingi.
yun yung difference. 68,000 maliliit na mga negosyante na binigyan mo ng kabuhayan. At wala pang nasasayang na bigas sa gobyerno. Vis-a-vis dito sa 50 malalaking negosyante na sila ang binigyan mo ng pangkabuhayan. The question is, if government sold it at 25 pesos, magkano naman ang naging benta ng ating mga traders or rice millers na sinasabi nyo?
I'm not absolutely aware, but as much as 40, 42 after remilling.
Okay. So, 25 pesos, binenta ng 40, 42. Ang naging kasagutan kasi sa amin, admin, nung nakaraang mga hearings ay 45. Tama po ba, Mr. Chair? Nabili ng 25 pesos, naibenta ng 45 pesos on the average. Now, magkano ang benta nung kapanahunan dati na hindi tinanggalan ng poder ang NFA na pumasok kapag mahal ang bigas?
During that time, Mr. Chair, around 25 to 27 yung range. And
In
then
other
lowest may
words,
23 pa.
In other words, 2 to 3 pesos per kilo lang po. Tama po ba? Pag binibili sa NFA ng 25, na ibibenta nila 27 to 28. Pag binibili ng 29, na ibibenta nila 31 to 32.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Sa NFA rice retailers.
Pero yun ay fresh stock. Meaning hindi na kailangan i-remit.
Hindi nga, let's go to the price, to the information, no? Kasi mahirap kasi pag pag-uusapan natin yung buong mundo. Pag-usapan natin yung comparison. So dati-rate, nung hindi pa kayo tinanggalan ng poder, ang benta nyo ng bigas ay 25 or 29 pesos. Ang benta naman ng retailer is 27 to 28 or 30 to 31. Ibig sabihin, plus 2 or 3 pesos per kilo. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Usually
Nung
2 pesos.
pumasok ang batas at pinigilan ang NFA na maging controller ng presyo, wala naman kayong magawa kasi masisira ang bigas. Yun ngang 330 million kilos, ang pinakamataas na ginagamit para sa kalamidad is only 35 million kilos. Kaya yung 295 million kilos, alangan namang ipakain natin sa baboy kasi makukuha kayo. Pero ang ginawa nyo, because damn if you do, damn if you don't, kung hindi nyo ibenta, patay naman kayo sa kaso dahil masisira. Kung ibenta nyo naman, wala kayong hawak dun sa presyo kasi hindi sila NFA rice retailer. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kaya binenta nyo ng 25 pero sila binenta ng 45. Sa pananaw nyo po ba, makatarungan po ba ito?